Anyone who smokes marijuana can be jailed for a number of years, but this is not the case in every jurisdiction. This has caused many controversies on its use in Ghana. Who uses it for medicinal or recreational purpose, and who is abusing the substance? It appears the debate on marijuana is not going away anytime soon. Is it obvious that the numerous uses of the plant demand a review of the existing laws? In this documentary, I will look at the difference between cannabis, hemp, and marijuana. I will also look at the classification of marijuana in Ghana. I will also delve into the WHO's discussion on the substance, and I'll be examining the hidden potentials of marijuana for economic benefits. I will be exploring the medical uses of the substance and how people really use it. I will also find out whether Ghana should take a second look at marijuana to gain economically from its medical and industrial use. Although mental health experts say there is an established link between marijuana use and mental illness or behavioral change, others believe this is not enough for the substance to remain illegal in an era where several countries are exploring the potential of the plant for economic gains.
I must say, until recently, the Western world claimed there was no such link. Even so, they recognized that there was a link between behavior problems and marijuana use. But frank psychosis, that is where they thought there was no link. But now they have accepted that there is a link. We have recognized it all along that there's a link between marijuana use and mental disorders.
If something is harmful, they link it up with psychosis. Yeah. So unconsciously, they are linking up with harm. Unconsciously.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, let's talk science. If it's about harm, alcohol is more harmful than marijuana. Okay. If it's about tobacco is more harmful than marijuana. If it's about harm, then let us schedule the harm and deal with the harm. So that, in other words, if you're going to deal with the harm related to the substance, then it's not prison. You shouldn't be taking them to prison. You should send them to hospital.
I speak on mostly medical cannabis.
Yeah.
Now, what's out there, the recreational ones, the levels of THC in there, I can't speak on. Yeah. I understand that the strains here in Ghana may be very potent, and that people who smoke it really may get very euphoric. And it's possible that they're lined with other substances. The medical cannabis, no. It cannot let you go crazy.
The scanty information on marijuana has created some confusion about the substance. To many, marijuana, hemp, and cannabis are all the same. For the purposes of this discussion, let's look at what each of these is. To start with, these are not named for one substance, and so it is wrong to use the terms interchangeably.
Plants are grouped in a certain way. So for cannabis, if you talk about the morphology, the class is called Hamamelidae. Then we have the species called Cannabis sativa, or Cannabis indica, or Cannabis ruderalis. And they contain the oil. So those of us, for example, who call for decriminalization, we have been with, that is why we say, because the plant, the definition is not Cannabis sativa. The definition in the law is cannabis species. So if somebody is growing ruderalis and you come and see the palmate leaves, people sometimes you think that it is cannabis. But it is not. It is sometimes, yes, it is cannabis. But it is being used for ropes and fiber. It is even edible. Whereas the other two cannabis, the other type of cannabis, they call them drug cannabis. Because they are the ones that people can use and change into marijuana.
We have herbs and we have hemp, you know. The herbs take 3 months to grow that we can smoke. But the hemp,
What is the difference?
yeah, because I see the hemp is what we use it for industrial,
Okay.
like to use to make ganja cloth. You know, let me tell you something about marijuana that people don't know about it. You know, the hemp. Do you know about the sheep? When the sheep come to the arbor, you see the rope that they use to hold the sheep. Is the hemp thread, you know.
Really?
Yes, please. It's the hemp thread that used to hold the sheep.
Do you have the hemp? So this is what? This is
The herb. This is the herb. This is the herb. You know, this one like this is a material for hemp. You see me? You know, hemp shoe. You know.
really.
Yes, please. You see, that's what the government lack.
Marijuana can be smoked by hand rolling into joints, in pipes, with vaporizers, and sometimes brewed as tea. It can also be used for medicinal purposes, as well as be mixed with foods like cookies and candies. Marijuana contains a psychoactive chemical called tetrahydrocannabinol. This chemical is what gives marijuana its intoxicating, otherwise known as high effect on those who use it both recreationally and medically. For such users, marijuana is very positive.
Babylon come, big stinking helicopter flow through the air. With them call it weed eater. Them never did it when me was out in water, or when me did implying fertilizer. Yet out of the sky them spitting fire.
Oshia, Emma, unya appetite. Emma, o stress and now problem and now thinking be out feel said. I worry you because we are doing what doing him. That high gives you some happiness.
You're a musician.
Yeah, I do music.
Okay, so when you smoke, creativity-wise, what happens?
It gives you some sort of joy and message from your own wisdom and your own senses that, oh, okay, you've changed from what you are thinking. So now, no, you have to think this way. So out of that thinking, no, you try to express with feeling of melodies. And then that comes the music. You understand? Then you want to say some joyful thing to your fellow people like, hey guys, what you say, man? Hey, actually, more say in that joyful way.
What to say? What be that?
Very good. Mean to make I say about Matida.
What will be our Shiri?
Me who be that?
Yeah,
on my drink.
Marijuana has done a lot for me, you know, because I'm an asthmatic patient, you know. You see it, and marijuana has really entirely cleansed the asthma, you know. You get it? Like I said, you see, Revelation 22:2, you know, said it's the healing of the nation, you know. And people don't really get it. Like my brother said it, you know.
Have you gone to the hospital to check whether you are no longer asthmatic?
Really and truly, I don't go to hospital most times, you know. But you see, I can't say my asthma has really gone totally, you know. You see, but this marijuana.
You are asthmatic and you are smoking.
Yes, please, you know. It calms it, you know. It calms it, sister, you know. People say smoke doesn't go for your lungs, you know. Which I personally know that. But you see, marijuana smoke is different from every smoke, you know. Because when I hear marijuana smoke as asthmatic patient, I feel good. But when they are burning rubbish, toilet paper, any other smokes, it give me attacks, you know.
According to the 69th report of the Expert Committee on Biological Standardization held in Geneva in 2018 on cannabis and cannabis-related substances, the World Health Organization recognized the public health harms associated to these substances, as well as their potential for therapeutic and scientific use. As a result, the WHO recommended an appreciable level of control for cannabis and its related substances that would prevent drug-related harms while ensuring that cannabis-derived pharmaceutical preparations are available for medical use. So what does the law say regarding the use of marijuana in Ghana?
Well, right now, what we are doing is, since it's classified as a narcotic drug under the PNDC law, we classify it as narcotic. And so when an arrest is made, the sample is brought here and we can analyze and tell you whether it's cannabis. After that, whatever they do to the suspect, we've done our part.
The convention itself says that the convention is being written. All the three conventions, they have in their preamble that look, these conventions are being written for the welfare and health of humankind.
Okay.
Those are two key words that every government in Africa has forgotten. So our laws on drugs, narcotic drugs, ought to take a cue from the conventions. We should ask ourselves, are our laws for the welfare and health of humankind? The law also says that any use of the narcotic drugs ought to be prohibited. They encourage governments to prohibit it. They didn't tell them to arrest them, to prohibit it. Now, in prohibiting, they said that except for medical and scientific purposes.
Okay.
It's in the law. In all prisons in Africa, in prison, I'm sure it happens in the West also, cannabis finds its way into the prisons.
Yeah.
Why? Because there's an illicit market. It's profitable. It is profitable. So when you make something illicit and there's a market, profitable market, and you don't regulate it, you are just enriching a few people.
Yeah.
And that can be dangerous. Because in drug reform policy, you must be dealing with the harm, and you must also deal with the illicit market.
Okay.
Our challenge in this country is that in the continuum of law enforcement, we touch the small fries and leave the big guys.
Yeah.
Our strategy ought to be this non-violent small fries. We need to be putting them into the public health system, diverting them to public health, education, prevention. The big guys, we need to arrest them. I don't care. They have money, so let's build comfortable prisons for them, but put them away for 20 years. You can let them have the most comfortable, let them go and sleep in, like the Crown Prince did, caught, arrested all these people and put them in a hotel. We can put them in a, but let them be out of sight so they cannot control anything. That is for me, is what we call smart law enforcement delivery. But where you arrest small fries with, and it's so regular, so you can see that, you can see that those arresting them are just, how do I put it? They are insulting Ghanaians. Oh, we are doing something, but there's nothing they are doing because they are arresting junkies. You understand? So they always take the same petrol, go back to the same people. They know themselves.
In places where marijuana cultivation and usage is allowed, business appears to be booming always. Could this be a motivation? In Uganda, the production and export of marijuana is a serious business. In April 2019, the Ugandan government signed a $160 million deal to export marijuana to Canada and Germany, a major boost in revenue generation to the economy, and this is according to Kenyan Wall Street. In 2015, Colorado collected more than $135 million in taxes and fees on medical and recreational marijuana. Sales in the state totaled over $996 million. Sales in North America grew by 30% to $6.7 billion in 2016 and is projected to increase to $20.1 billion by 2021, and this is according to AgView Market Research. Cannabis analytics company New Frontier say legal marijuana could generate an additional $131.8 billion in aggregate federal tax revenue by 2025. California, which is much larger in size and population than Colorado, could exceed $15 billion in sales revenue and $3 billion in tax revenue, according to an April 2016 study by ICF International. According to consultants Grandview Research Incorporated USA, the market for legal marijuana is set to be worth $146 billion, with medicinal marijuana set to make up more than 2/3 of that. With the rollout of policies such as the Planting for Food and Jobs and the Youth in Agriculture, could marijuana cultivation be considered? You have a farm, right?
Yeah, man.
Okay, how big is the farm?
As big as acres, you know. We're talking about acres.
So you have people on the farm who work with you, or?
You know, that thing is not one man work, you know. It's industrial work, you know, a lot of people, you know. That's why we were telling you that Akufo-Addo should give you the one district, one factory project, you know, so that we deal with it, you know. Save people life and give people work, you know. Yeah.
When the herb is ready to be used, because I don't think that you alone can smoke or use the whole acre of weed. So when it's done, how do you get it out? How do people get it?
Yeah, you are trying to be too much inquisitive, you know.
Our lovely president, all what we want you to do is that we are happy you're talking about one district, one factory. And one district, one factory needs money. Need big money. No country can give us money. We ourselves can do it. And Rasta, we are betting with the president that we can grow the herbs to build all what he want to do. Every district, even 100 kilo, one district.
One time.
100 kilo, one factory, one district, one factory.
So how much is this?
Yeah, this one is 250 gram, you know. This can buy or can rent a house. For the poor people on the streets. This can rent a house.
So how much is this?
It can cost you like 25 million cedis.
2,500.
Yeah.
Ghana.
25 million cedis.
Ghana, we import all our ropes. We import all our tarpaulins. In Nkrumah, I think there was some jute bag, something, and we're doing our own jute.
Yeah.
Great. But if somebody was advising Nkrumah, jute is not local to Ghana. We could have used cannabis. It will still be here. You understand my point? So that is what we need to be doing. We are a nation of importers. We pay other people our hard-earned foreign exchange. We don't want to produce things ourselves. Why would people look for money to import tarpaulin? Why would Cocoa Marketing Board and CSR, they should be investigating cannabis, how to make ropes and what's it called? Jute bags and other things. They will not be called jute bags anymore. They will be called cannabis bags. Because jute is not, that is the type of thing that one is talking about. Paper. Let us say that let's have a plan in the next 5 years. Let's get people in tech to make paper for their first degree. I don't see why. How many engineers do we have? Every year we are producing more engineers. Pharmacists. Every year, now that there's PharmD, we are going to produce about, and all these pharmacy schools that are coming up.
I think you're missing out, source of income for the government. I hear every day, I look on the news about how, just the economy is so bad here. Yeah. This is a way to pump money into the system where you can grow cannabis in general, export it, use it here, tax the dispensaries, charge these patients who want medical cannabis. When you want a medical marijuana card in the States, you will pay less than $300. Wow. Yes, and you have to have that card renewed every 6 months, I believe, or once a year. And that's another $300.
I think we also need to say research is missing. Extraction of oil. I can teach you how to make oil out of cannabis. I'm a chemist. Yeah, I did my degree in chemistry from Legon. Before I'm a pharmacist, before I'm a lawyer. I can grow it here and make it. It's that we must be teaching our people how to make it. Why don't we teach them how to get that oil and make soap out of it? Why don't we teach them how to make that oil and make hair cream? But that oil, cannabis oil for the hair, is very good against eczema. Yeah, these are things that we need to please. The oil is available. It is in the plant. Let us extract it. We don't need to restrict terms that have been used. We have to expand it for our use. What is medical use? So since it is in the convention, which government in Africa, after independence, has even thought of doing research into medical marijuana? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? So one of the things that we expect the new law to be doing is to set up an expert advisory group to the Minister for Health.
I think that the government should look into this. They should look into at least legalizing medical marijuana. We're not even speaking about recreational. No. Medical. For medical use, leave it in the hands of responsible physicians. We're not saying any Joe Blow would prescribe it. You're leaving it in the hands, and actually in the States, if I want to endorse it, I have to be registered. I have to have an active license. I have to be a practicing physician. They would have to vet me.
The discussion on the health benefits of marijuana gave rise to the term medical marijuana. The term refers to using the whole unprocessed marijuana plant or its basic extracts to treat symptoms of illness and other conditions.
Now there's studies showing that the vaping and the smoking is causing some lung issues. So they even have an FDA-approved tablet that's out. They have sublinguals, they have oils, they have topicals. So they have so many different formulations. It just doesn't have to be smoked. And it's so helpful in these, terminal patients, the cancer patients, HIV patients who are anorexic, who can't eat. It increases their appetite. It stops the nausea, especially if they're getting chemo. Your MS patients who have nerve pain, it helps with that. And I see it in my practice. I have patients who tell me, I don't want your opioids anymore. I don't want your tramadol. I don't want your OxyContin. I'm doing fine. And they're functional. They're not sleepy all the time. You get patients who are on certain opioids, and you look in my lobby or the hospital lobby, and they're sleeping because they're on so much. And I don't see that with the medical cannabis patients.
A 2018 Harvard Medical School article on medical marijuana lists its most common use in the United States as pain control. While marijuana is not strong enough for severe pain, like post-surgical pain or a broken bone, it is quite effective for the chronic pain that plagues millions of people, especially as they age. In particular, Marijuana appears to ease the pain of multiple sclerosis and nerve pain in general. Marijuana is also said to be a fantastic muscle relaxant, and people swear by its ability to lessen tremors in Parkinson's disease. Marijuana is also used to manage nausea and weight loss and can be used to treat glaucoma. A recent study published in February 2019 by the Chan School of Public Health revealed that men who have smoked marijuana at some point in their life had significantly higher concentrations of sperm compared with men who have never smoked marijuana. Experts say one particular form of childhood epilepsy called Dravet syndrome is almost impossible to control, but responds dramatically to a CBD dominant strain of marijuana called Charlotte's Web. Also, reports from the U.S. National Institute on Drug Abuse say recent animal studies have shown that marijuana extracts may help kill certain cancer cells and reduce the size of others.
I think that doctors have to lobby. I think there should be some lobbying. There has to be some policies set in place, at least to help patients who need it. The pain patients, the cancer patients, the multiple sclerosis patients, the HIV, sickle cell. Sickle cell is huge here. We're in Africa. These are patients who get crises all the time. So they should really look closely. They should look at the evidence. There's so much evidence. I'm not sitting here trying to push marijuana for myself. How would you work around this? I think there has to be process in place. It would have to be electronic. Doctors would have to be registered. Patients would have to be registered. Patients will have to have a card. If you don't have a card, you cannot get the medical cannabis from the dispensary. You just can't.
So the experts have spoken. We now know exactly what marijuana and hemp are. Nations are exploring these substances for industrial and medicinal purposes, thus boosting their economies and giving employment to many. Here in Ghana, the debates on marijuana decriminalization and legalization continue. It's a time to take the discussion to the next stage. We leave it at the doorstep of Parliament.